Hi friends. I was just gonna do a practice for myself, so I thought I would invite you to join me if you'd like. And just a warning, there's a fly in this house, like in this room, and it's driving me nuts. So part of my yoga is going to be to just tune it out and let that fly buzz and just find my own center. So this practice will probably be, I'm gonna guess, around 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm going to incorporate some breath work because I love practicing breath work for myself. You may or may not like that. Open up to it is my invitation and just see how you feel. You don't have to like it after either, but try it. And probably breath work intertwined with mostly like power yoga, so probably kind of deep power type stuff, longer holds. So I'm going to start in a comfortable seat. And I have felt really sluggish and tired today, so I'm actually going to start my practice with some breath of fire. So it's just a strong, fast exhale coming straight from the gut. The inhale happens on its own. I'm going to do about 50 to 75 pumps. Sometimes I like to do it through my mouth. Shh, shh, shh. It's a little bit easier, I think, if you're beginning. And if you don't want to do this at all, then you can fast forward through this, or you can just do your own breath practice. So big inhale, fill up. Hold in fullness, maybe close your eyes as you feel your breath inside your body, and then big audible sigh out your mouth. Do that one more time. Inhale, fill up with breath, sit up taller, take up more space, hold. And then big sigh out your mouth, let it go. And inhale to begin. Five, four, three, two, one. Big inhale, hold in fullness. Think of sealing your root lock, your pelvic floor. So seal in all that energy, all that prana. And again, big sigh out your mouth. And now just start to find your ujjayi breath. So slow and steady. Big and spacious. In and out through your nose by way of the back of your throat. And if there is any sort of intention that you want to bring into your own practice, then please take a moment to do so. I'll go ahead and share my intention with you, and for me today, it's just presence. So taking this day, just one moment at a time, trying to be as present as possible and not let my mind get ahead of itself, not go to that place of worry or anxiety, not go to that place of regret or remorse or guilt, but just be here right now with each breath. So if that resonates for you, you can steal it. And if not, use your own. Something that makes sense for you right now. So just take a moment to focus inward, to really bring that intention into your body, into your awareness. And then in your own time, whenever you feel complete here, ready to move, come forward onto your hands and your knees. So tabletop position, wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. And just start to move intuitively with your spine, with your hips, with your shoulders. So you can go with regular cat-cows or just whatever feels good to you. And especially if you are sore, these should feel really, really good. So just think of stretching into those tight places. Stretch into the stuck places, the stiff places. And even think of breathing into them. Give yourself about 5 more breaths. And there is no right or wrong at all here, so whatever feels good to you. I would encourage closing your eyes and just try to bring your intention into this movement. So maybe that's presence. How can you be more present with this movement? How can you experience more in your body right now? So just noticing all those little tiny sensations, those muscles, bones, tendons, ligaments moving around. Maybe even noticing emotions and where you're holding them in your body. And then eventually meet back in downward facing dog. So you can get there in your own time. Make sure as you set up your down dog, you're spreading your fingers wide and really think of rooting down through your index fingers and your thumbs. Try not to roll onto the outside of your hand. With your fingertips, imagine you're trying to press down into the ground like the ground is made of mud or sand, and you're trying to even make a fist and grab some of it. Maybe pedal out your heels or walk out your dog. Maybe shake your head yes or no. So you want to make sure you do have mobility in your neck. If you don't, probably need to readjust through your shoulders. Think of rolling them out and creating more space, more broadness through your shoulder girdle. Give yourself a couple more rounds in this first down dog. You can have a big bend in your knees. You can work your legs towards straight if that feels good. Imagine there is a seat belt fastened around your waist and it's pulling up towards the ceiling. So really feel that lift coming from your center. Take one more inhale. Exhale, look forward, step, tiptoe, or hop top of your mat, forward fold. Once you've arrived, give yourself a few breaths here, maybe taking a ragdoll pose, grab opposite elbows, or maybe hands behind your head, interlace your fingers. Something my good friend James Hardy always teaches, taking your hands behind your head, interlacing your fingers, but then pointing your thumbs up towards your earlobe so your elbows come out wide. I think that feels really nice. Gives a little more leverage for your neck. And then you kind of feel also the muscles in your upper back engage, stretch through your shoulders or your chest. Take a couple more big breaths. Make sure you're not rolling onto the outer edges of your feet, and make sure you're not rocking back into your heels. Next time you breathe in, find a halfway lift, spinal extension. So spine parallel to the ground. Feel your core engage. Exhale, fold. Again, just like that. Inhale, halfway lift. Think of squeezing your shoulder blades towards your spine, but rather than doing a cow pose, think a happy medium between cat and cow with your spine. Exhale, fold. Now, this time, inhale, rise all the way up to stand, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Flow through half sun salutes a couple times. So inhale, reach up, high mountain. Exhale, heart lead, slow swan dive down, forward fold. With your inhale, find your halfway lift. So think of almost trying to do a back bend, but then draw your belly button in and up. Exhale, fold. Now press firmly into your feet. Rise to stand, lead with your heart. See if you can feel the tops of your glutes pull down towards your heels. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hands to heart. One more like that. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, slow swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. So how much length can you create from the top of your head back to your hips? Exhale, fold. Now press into your feet, engage your core. Heart guides you all the way to stand. Inhale, stretch tall. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, inhale, take your arms to the sky. Exhale, twist to the right, left arm forward, right arm back. And then take your right arm behind you and see if you can wrap your fingers around the front of your left hip. Bring your left arm around in front of you. So think of with your left arm trying to pull your right hip forward, with your right arm trying to pull your left hip back. So you're using the leverage of your arms to twist a little bit deeper and keep your hips nice and square so this twist is coming from your center. Make sure you can breathe down into your belly. Broaden through the front of your shoulders, through your collarbones. Take one more full round. End of your exhale, release, unwind, inhale, arms to the sky, and then exhale, same thing, other side. So twist to the left, right arm forward, left arm back. Wrap your left arm behind your back and fingertips around the front of your right hip, and then right arm wraps over your front body and grabs hold of your outer left hip. So think of with your right hand pulling your left hip forward and with your left hand pulling your right hip back. I know it's a lot of left and rights to keep track of. Just play with the pose. It's pretty natural. You'll be able to feel it if you're getting that ringing out sensation from your center. If you're not, then your hips probably aren't square. So make sure hips stay square. Hug your inner thighs towards an invisible block. Take one more full round of breath. Broaden through the front of your shoulders. Inhale back to center, high mountain, reach up. Exhale, drinking bird. So hinge forward, reach back. Squeeze shoulder blades towards your spine. Draw your belly button in and up. Lift to your tiptoes, so heels off the ground. See if you can feel the bottom tips of your shoulder blades hugging towards your spine. Little lift in your heart. Bend your knees more. Lift your heels higher. One more breath. I'm going to set my heels down. You can keep them lifted if you want. Inhale, high mountain. So big stretch all the way up. Exhale, cactus your arms. Open up, lift your heart. Inhale, arms to the sky. And exhale, dive down slowly, forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank. Take a big inhale at the top of your push-up and really press the earth away. Exhale, slowly lower halfway down. Try not to let your shoulders roll forward. Inhale, press back up, high plank. Do that one more time. Exhale, halfway down. Keep your elbows stacked over your wrists rather than behind them. Inhale, press up. And exhale this time all the way down to your belly. Slow motion. Inhale, baby cobra, full cobra, or up dog. Completely up to you. So go just as high as feels right to you. Take a couple breaths, maybe turning your head from side to side. And then with your next exhalation, release it back down. Spider-Man Cobra, so hands come out nice and wide, lift to your fingertips, elbows face the sky, inhale, chest lifts. Exhale, I'm gonna twist to the right, so listen carefully here. Your left shoulder dips down towards the ground. Now keep your left leg extended, bend your right knee, press into your right fingertips and roll onto the outside of your left hip. So try to touch the ground with your right tiptoes. Think of a scorpion tail with your right leg. Dip your left shoulder towards the earth and feel that stretch through the front of your shoulder. Maybe start to reach your right toes up towards your left hand. Keep your left leg extended. Powerfully take one more big deep breath. End of your exhale, unwind and switch sides. So right leg is straight, left knee bends. Press into your left fingertips, roll onto the outside of your right hip. So again, think of a scorpion tail with your left leg. Left tiptoes reach towards the ground and maybe even reach up towards your right hand. See if you can dip your right shoulder a little bit lower, but keep the left side of your chest lifted. One more big breath here. And release back to center. Bring your hands to frame your mid-ribs. Press up to tabletop. Pause here. Spread your fingers really wide. Grip with the pads of your fingertips, and then find strength in your arms. So make sure your forearms are firing. That'll protect your wrists, and then make sure your shoulders and your upper arms are strong as well. Draw your belly button in and up. From here, right arm goes forward, left leg goes back, spinal balance. So just reach actively from your fingertips to your toes or press with your heel. Make sure you're not doing a cow pose with your spine. So think right in between cat and cow, nice flat back, a long spine. Your gaze should be down at the ground. So rather than gazing forward, gaze straight down. Take one more big inhale. Now listen, exhale, right arm reaches out to the right, left arm reaches out to the left. Zigzag. Hold here. See if you can lift your arm and your leg higher. If you need to modify, bend your elbow or your knee. Take one more round. Active fingers. Press through your left foot. And inhale back to center, forward and back. Exhale, elbow to knee, curl in. Stay here and hold. Take a big deep breath. With your inhale, think of puffing up into your back body. With your exhale, press knee into elbow, elbow into knee. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, lower your right hand down. Pivot on your right knee. Modified side plank, left arm to the sky. You can stay right here or reach your left arm forward. Lengthen from your left fingertips back to your left toes. Notice if it feels like your butt's sticking out behind you. Try to squeeze your outer right glute. Press your hips slightly forward. You can stay here, or final option, bend your left knee, reach back, grab hold of your left foot, kick foot into hand, pull hand back into foot, and start to rotate your heart towards the sky. Big deep breaths down into your belly. You should feel your back muscles firing. Keep a little teeny tiny micro bend in your right arm, or make sure your muscles are engaging and you can feel it. One last round. End of your exhalation, slowly release, re-extend, unwind, back to hands and knees. And I'm going to take thread the needle. So left hand stays down, right arm reaches out and up. And then thread your right arm underneath you. Reach through as far as you can. Come down to rest on the outside of your shoulder and the outside of your head. I like to take my left hand forward, lift my left fingertips, and then left elbow faces the sky. I'm going to press down like I'm trying to press the earth away, and as I do that, rotate my heart towards the sky so I'm gazing underneath my left armpit. Breathe into your back body. And if you're taking the variation I'm in, just make sure it feels okay on your neck. Try to keep your neck as neutral as possible. Take about 2 or 3 more deep breaths. You can make this pose really quite active, or you can make it more passive, more restorative if you'd rather. If you do happen to have your left hand or your left knee off the ground, bring them back down. Next time you inhale, unthread your right arm, reach it all the way up. Exhale, right hand comes down. Downward facing dog. All right, from your dog pose, next inhale, take your right leg to the sky. Keep your hips square. So right hip faces down towards the ground, and then your right foot is reaching back, pressing back and up. Press forward and down through your hands. See if you can find more length underneath your armpits, and then more length through your side bodies. Take one more inhale. Exhale, right knee to your nose, curl in. Stay here for a full round of breath. So as you inhale, puff up into your back body. As you exhale, get smaller, knee closer to your nose. Maybe give your knee a kiss. Then softly step your right foot to the top of your mat. Bring your back knee down gently. If you need extra cushion, you can fold over your mat or use a blanket or a pillow. Hands come up to your front thigh. Walk your right foot forward just a little bit so your ankle is slightly out in front of your knee. Take just your left arm up to the sky. All right, so right hand is going to either come to a block, a book, or the ground on your right side. So you're going to reach your left arm up and then over, right hand or right fingertips come down. Now listen carefully, this is a little bit weird. You're going to go through this action a few times. So right hip is going to reach back to the right. I'm going to scoop my right foot a little bit over to the right, and then I'm going to lean forward, right hip towards my right heel. At the same time, I'm pulling my right heel back towards my hip. See if you can curl your right hand further to the right and reach further through your left arm, left fingertips. Now I'm going to take that a couple more times. You can stay where you're at if it feels like enough. So my hips are going to move back to the right. My foot moves slightly to the right, forward, reach further. So I'm really feeling this stretch down into my left hip flexors. This is where I'm gonna stay. This feels like my edge. If you wanna go again, go for it. And I know it's a little bit of a strange movement, so if you're confused, that's okay. Just think of a side body stretch through your left side. Keep driving your right heel down and energetically pull it back and up. Take about 3 more rounds. See if you can breathe more space and length into your left side. All right, next time you breathe in, use the strength in your core to reach both arms up. Bring your hands down to the inside of your right foot. Now, tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee off the ground. Walk your right foot out to the width of your yoga mat if it's not already there, and walk your right foot forward just a few inches more. Now, see if you can lift your hips higher, so like there is a rope attached to your tailbone pulling up. This might be where you stay. If this feels like a lot, stay here. Otherwise, see if you can slowly work your torso closer to the earth. Right forearm comes down first if your forearms come down. So rather than just leaning over to the left and collapsing your legs, try to stay in your legs. Hips continue to lift. Think of energetically pulling your right heel back and your left toes forward. This should feel intense, and your legs are working, but you're also stretching and working your mobility. Take about 4 more breaths. Allow yourself to be in sensation. Notice if you're clenching your jaw, furrowing your brow. See if you can soften. Be with each breath. Just 2 more. You can exhale out your mouth if you want. All right, come back up to your hands. Now listen carefully. Keep your right foot at the width of your mat. Step your left foot out to the left side of your mat, but feet parallel. So you're in a slightly wide-legged forward fold. That was a confusing way to say it, sorry. So slightly wide-legged forward fold. Bring your feet off of your mat so they're on the floor, the ground. All 10 toes face directly forward. Inhale to a halfway lift. Now left hand's going to stay down. You can use a block or a book if you want. Right arm to the sky, reach high. Stay here or take it a little bit further. Left hand to the outside of your right ankle. Wrap your right arm behind your back. See if you can wrap your fingertips around the front of your left hip, just kind of like we did when we were standing at the top of our mats. Use that as gentle leverage to twist further. Take about 2 more big deep breaths. Legs as straight as possible. Spine as long as possible. End of your next exhale, unwind, switch sides. So I'm going to start with my right hand on the ground, left arm to the sky. If it feels like you want to go a little bit deeper, right hand outside of left ankle, left arm wraps behind your back. You can grab hold of the top of your right thigh or kind of extend your fingers. It's called extension with your fingers. So around the front of your right hip or kind of the front of your right side body. Use that as leverage. Breathe deep. When I practice by myself, I try lots of new things, so sometimes I don't know how to articulate them as well. So thank you for being patient with me as you practice with me. End of your next exhale, unwind. Nice easy ragdoll pose. Grab opposite elbows, let your torso sway from side to side. All right, fingertips to the ground. Walk your feet in just a little bit and then heels in, toes out. So my heels are on my mat, my toes are off. You may be the same or just a little different. Come down into a low squat malasana, garland pose. So you can either stay here and breathe, or I'm gonna move through about 50 rounds of breath of fire, just like at the beginning of class. So if you are coming with me, option to extend your arms up towards the sky, interlace your fingers, steeple your index fingers. Think of pressing your arms back in your chest forward. Great big inhale. Exhale out your mouth. Inhale to begin. 2, 1, big inhale, hold. Seal your pelvic floor, pelvic lock, root lock, and big exhale out your mouth. Let your arms come down. Fingertips to the ground, lift your hips to the sky. Heel toe your feet in so they're about hips width distance apart, or big toes touch, whatever you prefer. Take a moment to find your ujjayi breath, slow and steady. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Root through your feet, rise all the way to stand. Big stretch, breathe in. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, inhale, reach up, high mountain. Exhale, twist to the right, left arm forward, right arm back. Then wrap your arms around your body and use that as gentle leverage. Keep your hips square. So you can use the leverage of your arms to pull your left hip back so it doesn't move forward, and then try to broaden through the fronts of your shoulders. Really roll your right shoulder back and down. Maybe gaze back over your right shoulder as well. Take about 2 more breaths. Twist from your center. Next time you inhale, back to high mountain, reach up. Exhale, twist left, right arm forward, left arm back, then wrap your arms around your body. Gentle leverage, so pull your right hip back, left hip forward. Maybe gaze back over your left shoulder, breathe into your belly. One last round, biggest breath yet. Inhale, unwind, high mountain. Exhale, drinking bird. So bend your knees a lot, hinge forward, reach back. Squeeze back muscles towards your spine, lift your heels super high. For me, I always tend to roll onto the outer edges, onto my pinky toes, so I really try to root down through my big toe mound. So play around with your imbalances. Take one more round. Option to keep your heels lifted if you want. I'm going to lower mine. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, little back bend, cactus your arms, open up. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, slow dive down. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back to plank. We're going to do those 2 push-ups. So inhale at the top, come to your knees if you want. Exhale, halfway down. Keep your shoulders back. Inhale, press up. Exhale, halfway down. I'm coming to my knees, so feel free to do so. Inhale, back up, and then exhale, slow as you can go all the way down. Inhale, back bend variation of your choice. Give yourself a couple of breaths. And we'll meet up in tabletop, hands and knees. All right. Spread your fingers wide, grip the ground. So, like I said, it's like if your hands are in sand and you're trying to press your hands down and pick up a big hunk of sand. Think of doing that with your yoga mat. So you're getting your forearm extensors working, and that'll make your wrists feel stronger. Think of pulling your belly button in and up, but keeping your upper and mid back nice and long and flat. So if I had a tray of food, I could set it on top of your back and it wouldn't slide in any direction. This time, left arm forward, right leg back. Don't let your belly drop, so don't let anything change except your arm and your leg. Reach actively, spread your fingers, press with your back foot. You can find so much engagement in this posture if you really work it. Take one more big inhale, pull yourself apart. Exhale, zigzag, left arm reaches left, right leg reaches right. Bend your knee or your elbow to modify. Hold. See if you can lift higher, reach further, use your side abdominals, your obliques. Next time you inhale, come back to center, reach forward, reach back. Exhale, elbow to knee, curl in. Hold this for a full round of breath. So as you breathe in, puff up into your back body. As you exhale, press knee into elbow, elbow into knee, or upper thigh, top of thigh. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, left hand comes down, pivot on your left knee, right arm to the sky, modified side plank. So this is a great place to stay. You can also bring your right foot down if you want to further modify. Otherwise, you can come with me. Right foot is lifted, right arm reaches forward. Squeeze your outer left butt cheek. Try to press your hips slightly forward. Breathe. Stay here, or final option, bend your right knee, reach back, grab hold of your right foot, kick foot into hand, pull hand back into foot. Maybe take your gaze up and see if your heart will follow. Breathe down into your belly. Back muscles hug your spine. 2 more rounds. Spread through your right toes. And slowly, with control, release, unwind. Come back to hands and knees. Knees just a little bit wider than your hips. On an in-breath, left arm reaches out and up. Exhale, thread the needle. So reach your left arm through, come down to rest. Any variation you want to take for about 5 to 7 breaths. See if you can feel your breath move into your upper back, mid back, low back. And last couple rounds. If you happen to have your right hand or right knee lifted, bring them back down. Next inhale, unthread your left arm, reach it up, gaze up. Exhale, left hand to the ground. Downward facing dog. All right, inhale, left leg high. Pause for a moment. Your left hip still faces down, your inner thighs still face each other. Try to get your left leg straight. So a lot of times we think our left leg is straight, but it's not. See if you can engage through the front of your left thigh, through your quad, and then press through your heel or reach through your toes, up to you. And then with your hands, press down and forward. Lots of length. Big inhale. Exhale, knee to your nose. Stay here. Breathe. Full round of breath. Take a big inhale. Lift your hips as you exhale. Round your spine more, even your mid-back. Then softly step your left foot through. Back knee comes down gently. Grab extra cushion if you want to. And then hands up to your front thigh. Walk your left foot forward, just about 1 inch or 2. This time I'm going to have you walk it out to the left to begin with. So just a little bit, not quite out to the edge. And then keep your left hand on your thigh for now. Reach your right arm up. And then really reach your right arm as high as you can. Start to bring your left hip back. And then think of scooting your left hip over. Reach your right arm up and over as you sit forward, and then left hand can come to the ground, to a block, or to a book. So right side body is stretching. I'm going to go through that motion a couple times. Hips move back to the left. I'm going to scoot my left foot a little further out to the left, and then forward. And as I come forward, I'm reaching with my right fingertips. I'm trying to sit my left butt cheek on my left heel, but at the same time, my left heel is pushing down and pulling back. I'm going to go 1 more round on this side. So back to the left, forward, reach further. 3 rounds of breath wherever you're at. Soften your face, unclench your jaw. And take 1 last big deep breath. And release. Rise up, inhale. Exhale, hands to the earth inside your left foot. Left foot to the width of your mat if it's not already there. Lift your back knee. And then I'm going to scoot my left foot forward just a little tiny bit again. Lift your hips super high. So imagine there's a string or a rope attached to your tailbone pulling up towards the ceiling. Keep that. Don't let your hips drop. See if you can start to lower your upper body down without leaning over to the right. So left forearm comes down first if you move to your forearms. Most of your weight stays in your left hand, your left forearm, your left side. And this should feel, again, pretty intense. Your legs are working as you're creating mobility. So it's not just a passive stretch like in yin yoga when you just sit in the stretches. This is active. So you're working to stabilize as you work the mobility and flexibility. Big deep breaths. Take about 3 more rounds. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable. Stay present with it. And last exhale, if you want, can be a sigh out your mouth. Come back up to your hands if you're not already there. And then left foot's gonna stay where it's at. Step your right foot to the width of your mat, so to the right side of your mat and forward. Gotta figure out a better way to say that. So you're in a squat position. So heels in, toes out, low squat. All right, one last round of breath of fire if you want to take it with me. This time, face you. I'm bringing my arms into what's called ego eradicator. So fingers curl in, thumbs stretch out. We're gonna stretch our arms about 60 degrees overhead like so. And think of pressing your arms back, your chest forward, and try not to hike your shoulders up towards your ears. So great big inhale, and big sigh out your mouth, and inhale to begin. Three, two, one. Inhale, bring your thumbs up to kiss each other, hold. Find your pelvic floor, your root lock, seal it. Sip in more air. Big exhale, let it go, let your arms come down. Fingertips to the ground, hips to the sky. You can heel toe your feet in a little bit. Pause for a moment. Ragdoll or hands behind your head, interlace your fingers. Make sure your feet are now parallel. Reconnect to your Ujjayi breath. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back to plank. Before we go down, Vashisthasana, side plank. Right hand is your foundation. Roll onto the baby toe edge of your right foot, left arm to the sky. Lift your hips high. Maybe reach your left arm forward. Maybe float your left leg up. If you want to play with that bind with your bottom knee lifted, go for it. So bend your left knee, reach back, grab hold of your left foot. See if you can start to slowly open your heart towards the sky. Kick, foot into hand, pull hand back into a foot. Take one more full round. End of your exhale, slowly release, unwind. We're gonna go straight to the other side. So left hand is your base. Roll onto the baby toe edge of your left foot. Right arm reaches up. Hips are lifted. Stay here. Modify if you'd rather. Option to reach your right arm forward, float your right leg up. Possibly play again with that bind on this side. It's super challenging, so if you can't get it, no big deal. The trick for me is to move into it really slowly with control. Take about 2 more rounds. And slowly release, unwind, move through a vinyasa, or go straight back to down dog. All right, we made it to pigeon. Inhale your right leg up. If you want to open your hip for a moment, go for it. When you're ready, right shin to the top of your mat for your pigeon pose. So take a moment to set yourself up. Find stability, structure to support your stretch. So mostly for people that have naturally open hips, and I don't want to stereotype, but most of the time that tends to be women. So if you're just able to kind of plop into your pigeon, your practice in this pose is more stabilizing. So really think of pulling your right hip back and your left hip forward to get that little bit of lift and that little bit of tone through your transverse, your lowest abdominals. You can work upright if you want to. You might even play around with that twisted position that we took standing at the top of our mat. When you're ready, all roads lead to humble pigeon. Bow forward. If you want to take this on your back or in a seat instead, that's perfectly fine with me. Even as you bow forward, spread your right toes and try to drag your right hip towards the back of your mat. If you want to go deeper, scoot your back knee back a little further. And huge breaths. Come back to your intention or our intention. So for me, just being present with what I feel, with that sensation in my outer right hip. Noticing that my jaw is clenched, unclenching, softening. Noticing that my breath kind of feels stuck in my mid-back. So really focusing to expand into that space. So there are a million things you can notice right now that you can be completely and fully present with right now if you just tune in. And it's so much easier said than done. Take about 3 more full breath cycles. Last exhale might come out your mouth. And then listen here. We're going to start to lift our upper body. We're going to meet in a 3-legged tabletop. So plant your hands, fingers spread wide, tuck your back toes, and start to scoot your back knee forward as your hips lift up. Then you can unthread your right leg, give it a nice little shake out. And then from here, bend your right knee, draw your heel towards your right glute, flex your toes. Start to draw big circles with your right knee through space. Fullest range of motion you can find. Keep every other part of your body really still. So your left hip is going to want to move in and out. Try to hold it still. Your belly is going to want to move. Your shoulders are going to want to kind of transfer weight back and forth. Try to stay still. Reverse your circles. Right foot flexed. Imagine there's a rolled up washcloth behind your right knee and you're trying to squeeze it and wring it out. Now take your right leg straight back, toes tucked under, set your right foot on the ground, and kind of just push with your hands down and forward. So working the length in the back of your right leg and the flexibility in the front of your right ankle. Try to fire up through your right quad. Set your right knee on the ground, tabletop. Bring your knees out wide, but keep your big toes together. Now, this is kind of like thread the needle, but a little different. So you're going to take your right arm out and up. Thread your right arm through, but as you thread it through, child's pose. So hips reach back towards your heels. Forehead comes down to your mat. So rather than turning your head to the left this time, forehead down. And then try to walk your left hand towards the top of your mat as far as it will go. And then think of pressing your left armpit towards the ground. Breathe into your right shoulder capsule and your upper back. If you want to take it deeper, left hand walks further forward as your hips reach further back. And you may even take your gaze to the right. That will intensify the stretch a little bit, but make sure that feels okay on your neck. I don't like it. I like my forehead down, so up to you. And again, this can be really restorative and passive, or you can make it more active. So every pose, or most every pose, I think, has the potential to be more restorative or to be more strengthening, more stability based. Finish the breath you're on. And then rise up to hands and knees. you can go straight back to down dog. I'm going to take my right fingertips to my right shoulder and just circle my right elbow around in space a couple times. And reverse the circle. So option, if you want to come with me, just feel the mobility through your right shoulder. My right shoulder's kind of been bugging me, so this is really good movement for it. And then eventually right hand down. We'll all meet back in down dog. If you want to take a vinyasa, you're welcome to. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Open your left hip, bend your left knee. You can stay here for a moment if you want to. When you're ready, pigeon pose, left shin forward, nice and easy. So again, rather than pushing yourself towards the ground or trying to plop down into it, find that lift. So it's the opposite of what you would think intuitively would take you deeper into the stretch. You're pulling your left hip back, your right hip forward. So you're getting muscle energy to support the structure, the strength of the stretch. And again, especially for people with really open hips, you want to keep that as you bow forward. And if you want to take that twist on this side, go for it. It's just my personal opinion, so please don't take offense, but I think pigeon is one of the most misunderstood poses in yoga. People think it's like this huge, big surrendering posture, and it is to some extent, but you still want that balance of effort and ease, softness and strength. So a lot of times when people get injuries in their hips from yoga, it can oftentimes be from pigeon, and usually it's from just plopping into it, not having any muscle energy. So even as you're bowing forward, spread through your left toes, and that will keep the little tendons and ligaments in place so you're not pulling on your left knee at all. And then think of trying to drag your left hip back. And then if you want to go deeper, scoot your back knee back further. Take about 5 more breaths. The last couple rounds, you can exhale out your mouth if you want. And then slowly begin to lift your upper body. Nice and easy, move into your 3-legged tabletop. So left leg will extend back, give it a nice gentle shake out. Bend your left knee, draw your heel towards your butt, flex your toes, circle your left knee through space. Everything else stays still. So really try to isolate that movement. Then reverse your circles, opposite direction. Everything else stays still, and you really want to feel those muscles in your medial glute, so right on the outside of your left hip, engaging as you lift your knee up and out. Take your left leg all the way back, so extend it, toes tucked under, and then push through your hands, so push down and forward. Try to press your left heel closer to the ground. So just stretching into the back of your left leg and the front of your left ankle. Come back to your tabletop, left knee down. Bring your knees out wide, keep your big toes touching. Inhale, left arm out and up. Exhale, thread your left arm through, but sit back at the same time into your child's pose. So try to reach your left arm as far as you possibly can, like somebody's pulling on your left hand, trying to pull it out to the right as far as possible. And then forehead down, walk your right hand forward towards the top of your mat and press your right armpit towards the earth. Breathe into your left shoulder, your upper back. Keep reaching further forward as you sit further back, and if you want to intensify it, gaze to the left if it feels good on your neck.
one last breath here. Rise up to hands and knees. You can go straight back to down dog, or again, option to bring fingertips, left fingertips to your shoulder, take a few circles. Reverse your circles. And then eventually one last down dog just to stretch. So lengthen your spine, lengthen the backs of your legs. Make this your fullest, deepest, most you expression of your down dog that you have done the entire class. Take one more big, huge breath, fully present, and then softly knees to the ground. And then hug your knees towards your belly or your chest and just gently rock it out side to side. Let your knees fall over to the right. Left arm reaches out to the left, supine spinal twist. If there's a different variation that you'd rather take here, go for it. Try to keep the back of your left shoulder rooted down, and if it's not rooted, that's okay, but at least have that intention. You can gaze up or to the left. And then slowly find your way to the other side. As you come through center, take a moment to neutralize. Hug your knees in, or a little rock. And then knees fall to the left, right arm reaches out to the right. Gaze up or over your right shoulder and breathe. When you feel even on both sides, come back to center. Choose any inversion of your choice for 10 breaths. So it can be as simple as just extending your legs up. You might put a block under your sacrum or your hands in a diamond shape underneath your sacrum. Extend your legs up. Waterfall, perfect place to stay. I'm going to play with a headstand because I haven't done a headstand in so long. You can go wherever you want to go, 10 breaths. So anything that puts your hips or your legs higher than your heart. You can explore different leg variations if it would be beneficial or if it would serve you. Keep your big deep breaths going just a little bit longer. And once you feel complete with your inversion, ease your way out. Take either happy baby, or if there's a different pose that would feel better to you as a counter stretch, take that instead. Just give yourself a few more breaths to finish off your practice. And then eventually just begin to settle into your final relaxation, into your Shavasana. So for these last few moments, come back to your intention, feel it, maybe embody it or experience it. Or if it feels better just to hold it in your heart and kind of let it go, that's perfectly fine as well. And let's take one great big falling out breath together. So next time you inhale, fill up. Hold if you want. You can even tighten up, so make fists, crinkle up your face, flex your toes, everything really, really, really tight. Big sigh out your mouth. And just let your breath become effortless. Allow yourself to fully let go. Be with each breath as it passes. And I will leave you here. You can stay for the next 30 minutes, for the next 30 seconds, completely up to you. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you.